of the most interesting things in the history of astrology is that Carl Jung was a big believer in it. And Freud at the time told him, stay away from astrology. People are going to think you're crazy. And Carl Jung said, I am sorry, I have to go along with this study because it's too accurate. So he would pull charts for all of his clients, which is one reason why I want to teach you how to do astrology. Not that you have time to do it, but it's such a useful, it's just a tool. Right. EMDR is a tool, and astrology is a tool. And I believe that astrology is about human design, that we have design in nature, like a snowflake has a pattern and a tree trunk has a pattern. What makes people think that a person doesn't have a pattern? So all I'm doing is just reading the pattern, which to me is like a song. It's like reading music. It takes a long time to be able to play music well. You can have a beginner do it. Like even with astrology, I can teach someone how to read a chart, but to really do it well, it takes, thousands and thousands of charts, just like playing hours and hours of time on the piano. So we're designed with this resonance, with this pattern, and some of the patterns are really clunky and heavy duty, and EMDR, knowing that that's out there as a tool for people to go in there and make that clunky stuff go away, holy cow, that is like incredibly powerful. And as I said, I'm just so passionate about telling people about it because they don't know about it. Highly intelligent people all over the world that I deal with don't know what EMDR is.
No, I know. It's rare that somebody comes in here, unless somebody sent them or you sent them, that they actually know what EMDR is. And so I usually have to do my spiel on doing some education about it.
Is there ever a time when it doesn't work?
Yeah, I think that if people don't surrender to the process, they're kind of apprehensive or they're holding back. If they hold back things that want to manifest themselves in this office, then they get to take whatever that is home with them.
I've told that to many of my clients when they come in here. I say, when you go see Dr. Dobo, when you sit in front of the lights and you're all bilaterally stimulated, I said, you want to feel everything as if you are in the height of a temper tantrum of a 5-year-old. Like, try to get to that place of just that visceral emotion. And that's hard to do sometimes when you're sitting, at age 50 or whatever, next to somebody, to try to let yourself go back there. For me, it's easy, but for other people, not so easy.
I think that's true. I guess I'm not intimidating. People are pretty at ease with me, and I seem to be able to get them to trust me. And I explained I've done this thousands of times, and I wouldn't ask them to do this, and explain how just important it is to just allow whatever to happen. And so if they do that, they get a good result. And I think, getting back to Jung, one of the wonderful things that Jung said that I think applies here is that that don't you know that you can only get to the truth if you move without intention. So you can't have an agenda when you do this. You can't have an intention. You can't say, this is how I want it to work out, Doc, and say, well, it doesn't work like that. You get your authenticity and your truth, and it may not be anything that you want, but it's yours.
For me, EMDR is like going into a dark tunnel. You can't see where the next footprint is going to take you, and that can be very scary. And you're sort of a tour guide into the underworld with a person who's going to go into the most scary memories of their life. And sometimes what happens, or a lot of times, is that scary memory will then attach itself to another scary memory, which it's like a tentacle, and all of a sudden it starts growing. And it can be, I've done EMDR where I am literally feeling like I'm going to throw up, or I feel like I'm being choked. And that, it's a scary process because it is so powerful, and it's not for sissies. But if you want to get better, it is just the fastest, quickest way to clear it out, because as soon as you get through and that's what you're there to do, is to protect them in the tunnel. When they come out at the other end, you don't have people leave here until they're on their way out. They may not, I've had times where I haven't totally come out and I have to get back to totally clear it out, but it does work, and you have to be brave in wanting to expose it all. You don't have to verbalize it, but you have to physically feel it.
Right, and the thing to remember is, so if you have a memory from when you're 5 or 7 or whatever that is, and here it is, then, well, why is it here? Well, because it's stored inappropriately, because it's interfering in your life in some way that you don't even know. And so EMDR, when you sort of allow yourself to feel it during EMDR, that will be the last time you'll ever feel that. It's being sent away. You'll know it happened to you, but there's none of this visceral response. It's just this thing that happened with no kind of emotional charge or even a body or image. The stuff just gets cleared out. But it's there. So it's not cleared out when we start. And then after, we have those kind of responses, there's usually a shift to an adaptive place, and you start to say adaptive things. So I don't matter. People will start to say, geez, I never should have allowed that to happen. I have more value than that. Or they'll say something like that. And so they start to believe that, and then that's when the shift actually occurs, and that's what you're looking for. And whenever I just get the only time there's two things I say. I allow the processing to go on for a while, and then I stop to make sure things are moving. Now it just says, what are you noticing? And I just want to know right in that moment. And it can be a thought, it can be a feeling, an image, a memory, a body sensation. People will say that I'm feeling this or that, and I'm thinking of that, and then I'll kind of say, oh, well, I'll go with this because I think that's a more efficient way to get to where we're going to go. So that's where my skill comes in, to try to get them in and out of there as quickly as possible. But I can't get them out there too early, because if this kind of toxic information is stored inappropriately, I have to let it, work itself out. But it's at the speed of thought. That's the name of my book, because there's no talking, so it goes really fast. You can move through 10 years in a session. It's very fast. So that's the beauty of it. So it is a bit painful, but you kind of go in it, and then you sort of come out of it.
It's quick, and what I think is interesting about the way both of us work, it would be very easy for me as an astrologer or you as an EMDR therapist to get people addicted to coming or getting hooked on feeling like we've got all the answers. It's just the opposite for both of us, how we work. I want someone to come to me once. You don't need to come to me a lot. I mean, I'm okay with little updates now and again, but what I do in the 90 minutes, your human design pattern, it's not going to change. This is what you're here to work on. I don't need you to keep coming back and hearing it over and over again. You need to work with what is and move on. I don't want people to be stuck. And I don't want them to get dependent, and you don't either. You want them to get in and get out.
Right.
Get on with your life.
Yeah, I think that happens most of the time. My office manager said, you don't keep your patients long enough, Dr.
No, but that's exactly why you keep having patients, because your intention is right.
Right.
And that's not like some people who have been to the same therapist for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Well,
And I do EMDR because they do get better. And it's very easy to send them on their way and on with the next chapter in their life.
when I first started to do it, I didn't tell a lot of people, and a friend of mine who was, I would say, one of my best friends, she saw me about a year after doing it. She said, well, you're really different. She couldn't tell what I had done, but she was one of the core people in my life who made me feel as if I didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And she could sense and feel that something had shifted in our relationship, because all of a sudden I was no longer putting her first all the time. And I started to act like I mattered, and she didn't like that.
I hear that story very often.
Yeah.
From my patients. I warn them about it. Because, if you're married to somebody who treats you like you don't matter, sometimes the spouse will change, sometimes not. And if they don't, I say, you're not going to be able to tolerate this, just so you know. This is like Pandora's box. It's healthy, and it's probably what you should be doing. We should be doing this work, but, change is trouble.
Yeah, but you actually feel better for the first time in your life.
Right.
And then when you look back on how you used to live, you think, gosh, I wish I had learned about EMDR a lot earlier.
I hear that a lot, too.
Yes, somebody told me to do it.
Where were you 20 years ago, Doc?
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't a psychologist 20 years.
But that's why I'm so obsessed with telling people about it, because if we can help more people get to a healthier place and not suffer, mm-hmm. because there are a lot of people really suffering. There's a lot of it out there.
I know.
And to know that there's a way to feel better is really very important.